I eat a lot of meat and a lot of high-fat meat, and so I'm never hungry. The food pyramid was actually produced not by scientists, but by the Department of Agriculture, and it was a marketing scheme, essentially. The consequence of the marketing scheme was that people were enticed to rely primarily on carbohydrates for their nutritional necessities. Perhaps carbohydrates at far too excess a level. Now, carbohydrates are transmuted into glucose during metabolism, and we eat way more carbohydrates than we need to produce the amount of glucose that we need. This is still being pushed forward by people who are hypothetically on the nutritional front, and they are cheap, and they are delicious, and they are easily provided, and they are portable. My daughter was very ill with a plethora of immunological problems, including very serious juvenile arthritis, and it just about killed her. It did destroy 2 of her joints, and she had another 38 that were affected, and so she was always in a lot of pain. And I looked into the role that diet played in arthritis through the scientific literature for a couple of years and found if people who were arthritic fasted completely, their arthritic symptoms often disappeared. But then my daughter started to play, and my wife as well, very intensely with the diet. We went to a nutritionist who recommended an elimination diet at one point because we did notice that she would react to strawberries and oranges. And within a day, her thumbs would swell or her toes would swell. And so we knew there were some things she was eating. We had her tested for immunological reaction to food, but when we tested her, she showed a hyper-reaction to virtually everything they tested her for. And so she started to experiment with more restricted diets.
I started looking into diet for other reasons, not the depression. I thought the depression was here forever.
And eventually settled on beef. And it turns out for her, it has to be beef that isn't aged. Then all of her immunological symptoms disappeared.
Surprisingly, the depression lifted in like November for the first time ever.
Because you changed your diet?
Yeah.
And then my wife and I started playing with that diet. And so I've only been eating beef fundamentally for almost 5 years now. This is, first of all, radically effective as a weight loss strategy and also seems to produce remarkable effects on the general disease symptom front. Back in November of 2021, there was a study published by a Harvard group, which wasn't a perfect study because it was retrospective self-report. They assessed people who'd been on a carnivore diet for 6 months, and these people were so shocked by what they found.
69% improved chronic disease. 95% of them reported that they improved their overall health. 85% saw better mental clarity. The percentages go on. I mean, look at all of these percentages. All they did is eat meat, including fish. They also were able to eat eggs. They were able to eat dairy, drinking bone broth. You could have salt, you could have condiments, you can have spices. But there were no fruits, no vegetables, no grains.